Obviously, they've preferred the Lee Sin over the Kha'Zix, but they're going to this time
take
the Maokai first, and that's going to leave Cloud1 on the Lee Sin, but Kha'Zix still available. They have options. I think Final 5 is feeling very confident for Game 2.
Oh, I mean, they impressed me there. They threw me for a loop, and I'm glad I covered myself there and said it could be a top lane pick. You know, you got to kind of get the Maokai, force them into a Scion or something along those lines. But I do think it'll be a guaranteed Lee Sin here for CompLexity Black to take that away, because if they leave that up, they're just giving too many comfort picks to Final 5. And if they do that, it really signals to me that they don't have their pick ban phase figured out yet, CompLexity Black.
Yeah, well, we've seen them have a couple of decision-making stumbles, but the individual efforts have been pretty big, and now that Lee Sin has fallen, well, it could fall still into the hands of Cloud1, would be a pretty serious pickup for them, but they are prioritizing the Janna right now. Makes a lot of sense to take this one away once again from Rule 18.
Wow, that is really, really impressive to me in terms of just, you come in here, you know what your opponent plays. Cloud1, he loves that Lee Sin too. Shorter Race just had a great game on it. You don't ban it. You leave it up for third rotation, second time you're picking. And yeah, that's just, lock that in. Lock that sucker in. They do get a comfort pick, though, for Prawley in terms of the Orianna. He does have now more of a combined way to get in there if they combine it with something in the top lane that can gap close. Something in the jungle, if like a Nocturne gets picked up here for Cloud1, they do have a ball combination available to hard engage, which was one of the problems that they had last game. And now that they have a Maokai, that's a little bit more hard engage for Final 5 too. So we're going to see more fights this game, in my opinion, that are actually just completely started and somebody has to die. Whereas we saw some skirmishes and poking back and forth in the previous one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, as you mentioned, more hard engaged focus. The Orianna definitely telegraphs that. But again, this is CompLexity showing that adaptation, showing that they can come back into this and shake off the dust just a little bit. I think that they still are a force to be reckoned with here. Obviously, we said they're stronger on paper. It didn't always look that way because of what happened with the snowball effect last time. But Final 5 has to prove here that they're able to take on not one, but two distinct styles that CompLexity is able to throw out at them.
And then they go, they throw in the Jarvan so that they can go ahead and get a ball delivery system already set up here. I do agree with having a jungler that can provide that type of utility for you when combined with an Orianna. So that's what they're going for here. And they didn't exactly need the Lee Sin for themselves, and it would have just been to put Shorter Ace on something he's less comfortable on. So you're going to have to, you had to evaluate before coming into this, is that worth it? Do we want to put Shorter Ace on something he's not as comfortable on? We've seen him perform on a Nocturne. You'd probably fall back on that. But now, end up with the Lee Sin again. And I guess CompLexity Black might just be confident in their ability to take that out and to kind of come together as a team after losing a game by about 15,000 gold.
Yeah, but still there's some comfort picks all around here. You've got Final 5 setting up here for Gate on Twisted Fate, and that's something that he's been incredibly potent on in the past. I think he played it last week to a pretty solid effect in that game number 3. And this is a pretty decent catch composition. They have an amazing amount of gap close here, and he could also run the teleport route on it as well.
On the Twisted Fate? I think
a little bit extra.
I think he's just going to go with the double summoners for the mobility. That's my prediction here. It's something that we saw a lot of Twisted Fate players picking up later on in the season. So I assume that's what he'll go with. Maybe he'll throw the TP in there. Maybe. I don't know. But at the same time, Prototype, he's going to pick up the Lucian, which isn't really one of his top picks. You know, he's more of a Bane falling into a Jinx, into a Caitlyn. But he doesn't want to pick those champions. He doesn't want to pick up the Jinx because there's too many gap closers here. There's too many things that are very potent against it in the laning phase. So right now, what's Robert's last pick? It could be a Corki, it could be a Twitch for these mid-game power spikes, and it is going to be the Twitch. So he's going to make sure that he can survive the laning phase, that he can at least poke back and forth with Prototype and exchange with him and trade. And then who has the better mid-game is going to be a big question here coming into those dragon fights.
Yeah, I think that that's really in the back of the minds of CompLexity right now. They're trying to make sure that they can edge out in that early to mid game just on the back of better team fighting. And, you know, we saw their comms may have had a couple of issues, but they still had incredible individual effort. I think putting Cloud1 on Jarvan to combo up with the Orianna Shockwave is going to be a really solid choice for them this time. If they play it off right, they need to have that synergy because we've seen Final 5 will tear you to pieces if you don't.
Yeah, you need that synergy to deal with this team. They've actually just improved over the last week from what I've been seeing from them. You know, one game isn't really a large enough sample size to conclude that. Definitely, maybe they just had a good game, but at the same time, they know how to close a game out when they are ahead by a good margin. They also know how to snowball a game. Don't exactly know how to smite all the time, but hey.
There's always room for improvement, of course.
Yes.
So Let us know what you guys think, though. We would like to hear your opinions, your predictions, your prophecies, and, of course, what you think were the biggest plays. So tweet us at LOL Esports using the hashtag LCS expansion, and we'll go ahead and check those out later on.
Yeah, and I'm really worried about the Twitch into the Twisted Fate. Because as soon as Gate hits 6, probably he's going to have to apply pressure to him, try to keep him in lane, or else Gate is going to just roam to that bot lane, try to get Prototype ahead to the point where he can just duel the Twitch. And Twitch has no real escapes against the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, and that's going to be troublesome, especially I think the laning is going to be as well. So we'll take a look when we get into this one, what they decide to do going forward. You know, CompLexity still has a lot of tricks up their sleeves. We could even see a lane swap.
That is true. You know, this is a team, Robert and Bubba they are no strangers to lane swap. They've been doing it for over a year now. And it's something you don't get a whole lot of practice with in solo queue, knowing that, you know, Prototype is a big solo queue player. This is a team that came together a couple months ago. It's really hard to get that scrim practice.
Yeah, you really need to make sure that it counts when you do get it. And you can already see Gates looking to try and go aggressive early, pulling the red cards out. But again, everything else pretty normal, line of scrimmage. I think after that first game, CompLexity is going to try and play this out more conservatively. We've seen Final 5 do the same. But wow, already, Shorter Ace is just really fantastic at connecting on those Sonic waves.
Yeah, well, when this champion is your most played champion, making highlight reels and things along those lines, and they hand it over to you again, it's kind of like giving somebody their signature champion. I mean, it's not kind of like that. That's exactly what it is. You're giving him his signature champion.
Yeah, and they even Zenith didn't do that last time, and he still performed pretty solidly. A 7 KDA is nothing to sneeze at for a jungler.
And look at this F5 going for a refreshing start here.
Ah, I see what you did there. Looking Peter Humor.
Get right into that jungle, and hopefully they escape.
Shouldn't be too much trouble. No one moving to cut them off as they pull the deep wards out, but they have pretty solid vision of CompLexity Black, who have really, again, started this one as safe as they possibly can. You can also see it in some of their picks, taking the Mundo as well.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that F5 went for that early invade, because if they had found anybody, there's a lot more hard CC to start off the game. You pick a card, you're able to just stun somebody up, lock them up. You could get multiple ones off in the same fight. No real hindrance to your level 1. Ooh, Robert's going to go for the cheeky level 1.
Wow, they're going to find Gate here. Here he goes, pops out right now, and Gate's saying, what are you doing right now? He is going to be able to get away, but not without using a summoner, and he actually wants to find Robert. Returns more damage onto him, as Rule 18 was there to sustain him up, but the blue buff steal, it was all an elaborate ruse.
There it is. It's actually a lane swap, too. So Prototype and Rule 18 are both going to go to that top lane, and Rux is already in this bottom lane.
Yeah, a really, really nice move there by CompLexity Black. It didn't quite work out exactly as they wanted, but of course, Gate and Prawley will have to trade it out for just a minute. Gate having to chug those potions early on.
Yeah, he did get the butt end of that trade. He threw out his Ghost, and he didn't really get anything for it. He got some return damage on Robert, but Robert's going to solo farm in this bot lane against Rux, who actually hit level 2 off of all of that, so he got actually a pretty good lane start as a solo laner.
Yeah, really, really well done there to start that game off. So again, Rux, you know, pretty solid CS advantage over Kenny since he's had to kind of go in there and defend now against Prototype and Rule 18. It would be a little bit hard to kill the Mundo even early on, but I think they're perfectly happy to take that lane trade.
Yeah, if you can get your solo laner to not be level 2, or not be level 1, which is really big, because usually you zone them off, you get this huge creep wave like they have up top right now, and if the jungler were to rotate up there, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill, or at least some summoner spells and missed experience.
Yeah, no, they're trusting Rux as well to be able to try and deal with this. They've actually sent Shorter Ace down with the double buffs to maybe get a little bit of a move made here on Robert, but he's playing this out where he knows.
Robert's got cleanse too.
He does.
So as soon as they close that distance with Twisted Advance, he does have some options available to him.
Ooh. Oh, they're going to find Bubba though, so they don't even want to go for him now. Robert still dealing the damage as Shorter Ace revealed, but Robert's taking a lot as well, and safeguarding back into Rux. Again, you know, when you've got 2 melee range, whoa, and you're able to trade that well, that's pretty impressive.
Cloudwind's basically been going back and forth in this jungle, trying to figure out where Shorter Ace is and where he wants to fight him. We're going to have to see here.
I think it was a really smart choice to focus on the Bubba Dub, especially considering the cleanses there. And this also telegraphs a lot that Robert wants to play this safe.
Instead of going for a play in the mid lane, Cloudwind, he's actually going to play it safe a little himself. Just clearing out the raids. He just spent about 10 seconds, 20 seconds going back and forth in that bot side of the map. And now he's going to look for that gank in the mid lane, but probably already pushed it up.
Yeah, Gate has been playing this out pretty well himself, considering what happened in the very early start of the game. Him probably been trading back and forth, left and right quite a bit. But of course, the CS numbers still favoring Prawley right now on that Orianna.
Prawley, he's a really good CSer at the start of the game, unless there's those jungle skirmishes, which happened last game. And now in the top lane, though, Kenny, he's getting starved of CS. His CS compared to what Rux is getting for himself, pretty big margin. Oh
yeah, shorter ace. He didn't quite connect on the Sonic Wave. Got a minion right in front of Prawley. He decided to go in anyways, but again, they're just trying to scare
Rule
as best they can. Actually, Rule 18, whoa, in tower range. Kenny sees the chance he was looking for, actually goes pretty far forward, gets exhausted, the bubble's down. This is going to be first blood, and it goes over to Prototype. So Rule 18 got that close to getting caught.
So, oh my God.
Goodness, Prawley.
Oh.
And that just happened.
That was crazy. So, Rule 18, every time I see him, I'm like, why is this guy out of position? And that time I'm like, whoa! He's out of position, but they just got so much for that.
So here's what happened. Last game, they sent Rule 18 out to just get caught a whole bunch. So now, CompLexity Black thinks he's just going to get caught every time, and they bait it. The mind games.
Yeah, he's just like, I'll play the damsel in distress. Save me, Prototype. Oh. And he's like, nope, was beating him the entire time.
Yeah, they took down the Mundo, got themselves first blood, picked up another one in the middle, the help of Shorter Ace. So once again, Final Five starting out strong this time, even if their win conditions look a little bit different than they did.
Yeah, and Kenny's one of these players that plays very instinctually. He's very aggressive, and he's very solo queue hero. Like, he wants to carry the game. And when that type of person isn't getting CS, he's at 7. He's a third of what Rux has going for himself. Basically able to just pick up a Ruby Crystal on that back, saw a kill that he could capitalize on. He's like, I'm going to go for this. Like, 99% chance that you're going to go for a Nami that just took turret aggro, and you don't see the AD carry in sight. Like, you can't really knock iKennyU for that play.
Not to mention he's had not very much time to really work with Cloudwind to develop that synergy, just because of the fact that this jungler has been on the team for less than a week.
Yeah, look at this. Prawley doesn't have his flash. They know it. The stun, the bubble.
The gold card, the bubble as well. They comboed up. Shorter Ace going to be able to connect. Oh, it's not in range. The shockwave's going to come in, but they take down Prawley. And Cloudwind says, no thanks.
He's just strolling by. He's like, all right, GG, you got Prawley. And now the dragon collapse. Just knowing these summoner spell timers, Final Five are taking better timers than CompLexity Black. Just overall. Flash timers, inhibitor timers, that really impressed me last game. When they rotated to the inhibitor, pushed the waves out just in time. Yeah, it's something you don't usually see from challenger teams.
They do have that incredible synergy. Again, as Peach talked a lot about how this is a coachable team, how this is a team that doesn't necessarily have the biggest latent talent, although arguably some of them do. But they're able to come together like that, taking the timers, incredibly impressive. They grab that third kill, they grab the dragon, and they leave CompLexity scratching their heads.
Yeah, CompLexity now 3k gold down, looking for a kill on Gate. He still has his flash though, and probably doesn't have Shockwave.
Yeah, he's going to burn it immediately. Don't even get close. But Cloudwind will be happy that he's able to make him burn that just for the moment. All the same, you look at a lot of the numbers, they've started to turn around. Gate now having the better CS over Prawley's Orianna.
Yeah, and there's all this control in terms of warding on the right side of the map here. Shorter Ace is going to clear this ward out and just get even more dominance of this area. He's level 6. Cloudwind almost on the brim of it, but not there just yet.
Yeah, and Robert and Bubadub are pretty low at 5 and 4 respectively. They have to know Shorter Ace is in the area. Prototype and Rule 18 doing a pretty good job of trying to make sure they can't get close without taking the damage. And Prototype's hit 6 already. They have that little edge, and as we saw last time, Final Five can turn those into big leads.
Yeah, he didn't push the edge though at all. And now he's just going to go for this blue buff and be like, Prawley, come here. But at the same time, Gate has his ultimate available. They could collapse on this, and Prawley doesn't have his. There it is.
They're going to go for it this one. Bubadub, they find, actually, Bubadub, Robert is on the run, but now the flash over Gate might be in a little bit of trouble. But meanwhile, they find Robert actually, and they should be able to pop him down. It's Rule 18 actually picking off the kill, and a pretty solid collapse there. Nothing else to take, but they do get one.
That Gate positioning was fantastic by Gate. He just ended up on the right side of the wall where he could use his gold card on Robert, Bubadub, or throw it at Prawley. None of them knew who he was going to go after when he used that ultimate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you don't know what your enemy is going to do, you can't really react appropriately. Now, Gate, he could be in a bit of trouble as well. Doesn't have his flash up. They're going to spend quite a lot to take him down, but they will be able to pull that one back in.
That's really to be expected. Last time he got that flash, and he wasn't 6, he's like, okay, now I'm 6, repeat gank. Very, very easy to pull off on Jarvan with the Cataclysm. And like we were saying, when you use a Gate like that to get in on that right-hand side and you could hit 3 people with your gold card, either nobody reacts to it or everybody reacts to it. because then he'll at least get one of the people if just one person like flashes away. He's like, okay, well, I guess I'll get Robert instead. Oh, no.
Yeah, and you can see that both teams are taking opportunistic fights, but the plans are being laid by Final Five. They're making the plays early and often. They're trying to keep things going, and they definitely have a sense of how they're going to win this game. CompLexity Black, by comparison, just seems to be trying to take what they can get.
Yeah, like you said, they're kind of scrounging around for things. They're trying to get back into this game, and I think a lot of it has to do with the facilitation of shorter ace, highest skill participation in the game, tied with his support and his mid laner. Like, this guy knows how to facilitate fights. He really knows how to start them off, and they've been picking on this mid lane. Prawley has not been having a good series, and he's the shot caller of the team, newly stepped up to that role.
Yeah, not to mention Shorter Ace making as much as he can without even boots. We've seen him all over the map, and that guy doesn't have boots 1 yet.
Yeah, that mobility of Lee Sin that he's been using, and he's just showing up. He's starting things off so that he's making Cloudwind have to react to him.
Yeah, meanwhile, a couple of towers being taken down here as Prototype, Rule 18, and Rux are going to be able to take those outers down, and they'll be eyeballing mid pretty soon. That's the next easiest objective on the map, but we've all seen what happens when Final Five start to get together for the fights.
Yeah, but look at this. It's 4.4k gold lead for Final Five already. 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes into the game. A lot of stuff CS advantage. You look at them across the board. 20 in that bot lane for Prototype. 10, or like, I guess 6 in the mid lane for Gate. He's been roaming around too. He's had a huge impact on these fights. Prawley's just been in the death chamber.
Well, you could see that. You could see how Cloudwind just was really hesitant to even go in.
Well, also,
to try to clear the wards.
Cloudwind's score shows a little bit of a story too. 50 CS. He's farming. He's stealing some camps. He's clearing out the lanes when somebody dies. And he's just like, all right, Prawley's dead. I'm going to have to clear this out and hold it. And that's when you see those types of numbers on a jungler, where Shorter Ace, the lower number, has definitely been having more pressure overall in this game.
Yeah. A huge boon to his team this time, just as it was last, and they will finally spot out that pink to clear it away. But you see Siege starting up right now. They don't have a huge wave here, but there's the calling out to try and poke them off this tower. However, yep, Cloudwind, Prawley, and Bubadub standing strong to defend this one, and they'll need a little bit more than that to take down the mid tower.
Yeah, it's buying some time, though, for these side lanes. They're less farmed members. ICanEU, he's catching up to Rux. Then you see Robert, he's catching up to Prototype. That's what they need. If they're able to stall this with the wave clear, look at that. They might get
the chase on, though.
Doesn't get it.
Yeah, probably was able to walk it out just fine, but I think they telegraphed that soon as the gold card was popped up. All the same, CompLexity playing this out safe, knowing that they have a significant team fight later on in the game, not wanting to give up any more objectives.
Exactly. They need to wait on this team fight for them, whereas Final Five kind of has a skirmishy comp that can 5v5 you at the same time.
They can Final Five you?
Yep, and look at this. They're going to Final 2. ICanEU.
He could be in a bit of trouble. He's going to pop everything he can. Already flashed down, but Shorter Ace wants to deal a little bit more of a parting shot. It's Kenny. Gets the briefcase.
Nope, they're just okay with the flash being blown because they know he still has his ultimate up and he'd make it out even if they kicked him back. So good.
Whoa, they find Gate. Oh my goodness, how much did they spend on him? The tower is still ticking though. Cloudwind could be in trouble. He doesn't have the aggro on, and they're going to be able to pop that one down. Rule 18, what is he doing by himself right there? Just able to float away, or is he? That's going to be Robert X. Lee with the kill. Teleport now coming in, and it looks like CompLexity Black starting to gain some ground.
And that was the thing too, is that it looked like CompLexity Black didn't have a numbers advantage there, but everybody kind of just scattered to the wind, backed, and then they didn't make it in time, and that's actually going to be CompLexity Black getting a turret off of that, as well as 2 kills for 0.
Yeah, they're going to keep on going. Back it away just now as they see Shorter Ace and Rux coming a little late to the party, but again, Rule 18, that wasn't just positioning, that was a decision-making error. He did not have any way to get out of that.
Yeah. Used his Ignite and his Flash as well. And this is a Dragon fight that's about to happen. A little bit more gold falling into either team's pockets. And right now, they know the Shockwave isn't up. They saw it being used. They know the Cataclysm isn't there. They know that the Rat-Tat-Tat isn't up. I think the Final Five should just start this fight off.
They need to, absolutely. Rule 18 trying to lead the charge as well. Bubadub now caught between, or rather it's Rule 18 caught between a Bubadub and a Dragon. It's Kenny there. Is trying to deter them from starting this. Again, CompLexity just needs to stall out till those key ultimates are up, but Final Five is taking their time about this, and this is a mistake.
Yeah, the Gate from Gate, Destiny from Gate, man, that's just going to throw me off all the time. The Gate from Gate, the Gate squared. If he could just get in with that, he'd be able to start this fight off. Shorter Ace is actually going to look for a steal here.
Yeah,
it hasn't been his fort.
Ooh, he does not connect the Sonic Wave, though, and they're looking to see if they want to go in on this one. He does get...
Oh, he got it!
Wow, okay. And he has to flash away, but... #worth.
Yeah, that was worth it for him. Redemption. He smited when he needed it in this game. It's all good.
Says to Cloudwind, anything you can do, I can do as well. And they're going to start this fight off. They find Prawley, catch him up, and there's going to be the Monsoon. The Shockwave going to connect on almost everybody, and that is probably going to be jumping in. This is going to get crazy. Destiny Gates on. Shorter race. He's being fired down, but they find Robert. They're finally going to pick him off. It's still a double kill for Prototype, and they're marching on forward. Yes, they've lost Shorter race, but they get themselves a pair of doubles, one for Rux, one for Prototype, and they're going to get a tower.
And that was the start of the fight from Gate. It was a perfect ultimate there from Prawley. Perfect ultimate there from Cloudwind, but Rat-Tat-Tat wasn't up. When I screamed that out, I was like, what is this? He doesn't have it. It's the fight that was started a little too early, but Final 5 forced it. And that's exactly what they needed to do at the Dragon, but they end up getting, basically, they had their cake and they ate it too, because they got the Dragon and then they got the fight they wanted.
Yeah, exactly the way they were meant to go into this game. That is the win conditions they were looking for. They certainly found it there, and they extend their lead up extremely high now, 4 towers to 1. CompLexity Black, they really have to be more careful than that because Prawley was just too far out from his team.
Yeah, Prawley just getting caught out there. Gate, really good job there. Like, he could have used that a lot earlier to start a Dragon fight off, but they steal it. And like I said, just they walked away with what I thought was going to be a fight into a Dragon, but instead they do it in reverse order, and it works out for them either way.
Yeah, Final 5 has just been really all over the place, and yeah, they've definitely made some mistakes. You saw the Redemption fight, CompLexity able to take a tower off of that, pushing in a little bit further, but it seems that when Final 5 is all together, they're finally turned on.
Now, they've just had a problem grouping up before. They had a problem with nerves, and against CompLexity Black, a team that everybody's like, this is a really good team coming into this, we might not see Prawley in the LCS next season, might not see Robert.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very real possibility. If CompLexity doesn't win this game, they're out of it for sure. They have to start by answering back. In Final 5, they know they have that chance. They want to make it into that Final 4 qualifier, and they're really close to it here if they can just keep this effort up. It's a pretty massive gold lead for 16.5 minutes in, and they're pushing it.
Yeah, and when you make it to those longer rounds, the best of 5 double elim, when you have a coaching staff behind you, they do research for you. They help you with picks and bans. Problem there, land jitters. That's a big thing that if Final 5 make it there, but they still have to go through this. Here comes Gate.
They're going to find Cloudwind, who is actually going to jump onto Gate. He stays alive just barely, but that was a good adaptation. Best Cloudwind could have hoped for in that kind of situation, but so much help there. You can see Final 5 just working better together as a team. They're going to be eyeballing this top. There's still a wave they've had to clear out to get to it, but CompLexity Black, a little slow to respond from this one. Meanwhile, Rux and Kenny are just hanging out in the bot side, but there's a teleport available for the tree.
Just pushing this lane out. Robert, he hasn't been able to get his power spikes at the right time over his opponent. He's got the Blade of the Ruined King. No Youmuu's Ghostblade to just pop up and surprise people. And already an Infinity Edge for Prototype. And everybody just establishing ward control. Shorter Ace, once again, on that Lee Sin, helping with the ward control. And now it's the Death Bush here for Final 5.
They play the waiting game. Gonna play it out nice and carefully. Gates taking his time. Robert, oh, he's gonna walk into the trap, and here they go! And there goes his health bar. Prototype coming up with that one. They played that incredibly patient.
Sneaky, sneaky, and they come out on top on the Twitch. And now they get absolute control over this top side of the map. Rux in the bottom side, basically wet noodle fight with iKennyU to see who can push that wave up and then TP. But now they get to get pressure on this turret. They might get this tier 2 off of the back of taking out Robert.
Looks like they will. There's really no reaction right now as Prawley and Cloudwind are taking the long way around. Bubba will find it, but he says, I don't know about this, guys.
Yep. Rewarded with the tier 2 off of that single kill on Robert and the pathing that he had chosen. The ward that they used and placed over the wall there for vision from CompLexity Black was put in after the 3 members had put themselves in that bush, and it was just a prong type of attack there from Gate.
Yeah, really, really good use, I think, aggressively of the summoners, because Rule 18 went in there, flashed forward to make sure he could land the bubble, and Robert just didn't know what hit him there. I mean, it was a little bit...
He did. He was like, there's a bubble in the card.
Yep. And Gate immediately going to pop out of the Cataclysm. One ult for Summoner, but his Prototype trying to turn around a little bit more damage. He's starting to hurt a bit more now with that Infinity Edge.
Just pumping out as much damage as he can, just on the backside as they're walking away.
Yeah, he's getting the fadeaway shot, so Prototype with the red buff as well, going to try to reset this one right now. Dragon's available in a minute, but again, CompLexity just seem to be 1 or 2, maybe even 3 steps behind when Final 5 wants to take something, and that is what they're banking on.
Well, they have a really big bank right now for Final 5. About a 10K gold advantage at 20 minutes.
Hey man, you invest in team fights, they pay off.
Oh yeah. And there's a dragon in 35 seconds here. Ward control being established for Final 5 on this side. They're trying to get control of these pink wards so that they can take them out. They know there's that one right there. And they want to push up and get it.
Going to be a couple of wards traded back and forth, but again, Final 5 just finding the better positioning in this one. Dragon is 15 seconds away, and they're in prime position for it right now. Oh, Cloudwind, yeah, he gets the flag out. They're actually going to try to chase him. The Destiny Gate's going down right now. Cloudwind having to flash away. He's going to actually get in a little bit of trouble. Wave knocks him up. The wild cards come out. They don't have enough damage, but Shorter is going to get the kickback. He actually stops the Monsoon. Robert's in trouble. He gets melted. This fight's going haywire. Brawley is going to go down. If he can get away, one more shot would be all it takes, and they get the slowdown. Kenny face taking all the damage. Shorter Ace says, that's just fine. I'm going to get some more, and they can't quite polish off Brawley, but they're still going for it. And Robert the only casualty, but boy was it close.
Yeah, those flashing red health bars on Complexity Black is going to allow this dragon to fall into Final 5's hands again. And look at that gold across the board. Just leads all 4 Final 5. Everybody's extremely powerful, and there is about a 2.3, like 3K gold advantage just on the support there.
Yeah, a massive pickup, and now their gold lead over 10,000 at this point. They are just rocking and rolling. It's 21 minutes in. This is insane.
They're doing a really good job on Final 5 side, taking advantage of Complexity Black's shortcomings and their shot calling here, coming into these fights. Basically, Final 5 set up, and they did a perfect job of execution here across the board. 21 minutes in, 11K gold advantage, 11.4. Amazing play here from Final 5 against Complexity Black. Like, they rose to the occasion, right? This is a team that people didn't really have on their radars for the most part. They're like, oh, Rux is on this team. You know, we'll see what they do. Top 4. They're almost top 4. They just have to take this game off of Complexity Black, and they make it to the double elimination round.
Yeah, this is pretty big for them right now. And again, not being known, not necessarily being on the radar is certainly working out in their favor. This teamwork, they have hit on all cylinders. They're moving forward. Complexity Black just doesn't have a response to this. They don't have the team fights. They need to stall out for the late game, but they need some money for that.
And they don't have money at all. Look at that. Robert is still struggling to get his Youmuu's Ghostblade, where there are 2 very expensive items completed on Prototype right now.
Yep, he's got that Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer still moving on forward with a little bit more items as well. Now Kenny trying to bully out Rux, but I don't think he's going to get the better of this one. And they are, once again, 4-manning this mid. Still eyeballing that.
There's the ulti.
Oh, they're going to find Brawley. Gate, he gets exhausted immediately, but the cards are out. Brawley's pretty low right here. The wave's coming in. They get a pretty big shockwave, but it's not going to be enough damage. Prototype now. Robert might have enough to finish him off, but all the same, he goes way too far forward. Gets the shutdown gold. It's going to be a 1-for-1, so that looks great on paper for Complexity, but this fight could still happen.
And at the same time, though, Rule 18 is pretty much out of this fight. He's got to tap out. He has no mana. He has no HP. He has to go back. So it's essentially a 3-on-4. But Complexity, they can't really get anything from it except just relieving some pressure for just a moment.
Yeah, and that, if you're starting to take fights just to get the enemy team off your back, that's not going to end well for you. But it was a good move by Robert to be able to polish off Prototype. Just one step forward. Nearly paid for it with his life, but he did get out.
And now finally Robert has these mid-game items for him. But look at how late they are.
Yeah, it's almost to the late game at this point, 23 minutes in. The siege commences down on the bot side. This tower could fall pretty quickly. It's only Kenny here to defend it, and he's not even going to try other than a briefcase. And looks like they want to set up for Cloudwind. Gate got the gold card on the chase. He's just going to zone him away.
And he has the Distortion boot enchant, so he has the decreased cooldown on both of his summoners, so he's got more options available to him in terms of utility and stunning people. So a big thing coming into this game, you're talking about the spikes on, we're talking about the spikes on Robert, where he just got them 24 minutes in. That's not a terrible time to have those 2 items, but at the same time, in comparison to how the game has been going in the pace, F5 is just miles ahead at this point.
Yeah, they are looking more and more like they might be the winners in this Group A right now, trying to set up for this Baron. They don't even need to dance for it at this point. Their partner's fallen over flat.
They see that ward though. Oh no, wait, they don't. That ward is safe. What?
That It's a pretty good spot, but here we go. Rux are going to find Cloudwind now. The Destiny Gate's on. They're going to stop the Baron for just a moment. They find Cloudwind, and down he goes. Robert trying to dish the damage in the back. He finds Prototype, but not going to be enough. Oh. Wow, that was a lot of displacement between the Monsoon and the Shockwave. Robert's in trouble. Rux is on him, but there is a lot of members of Complexity in this backside because Prototype's already down. That damage is already out. They find Bubba Dub. They're going to keep going. Shorter Race so low, and he's going to not even get away. It's actually Complexity that finds the slightly better fight.
And a big part of that was Robert and Prawley. They couldn't get to them. They were picking on Kenny the entire time with his ultimate running, focusing down on Mundo, and it's just like, look at this Twitch, pumping so much damage into everybody, and Prawley just throwing his ball around, getting shields on the right people, making them even more durable. It was a really good fight there for Complexity Black. And Final 5 said, we don't want to risk it this time. They saw Cloud win, and like I said, when you see the jungler coming into the Baron, you're like, all right, cover that option, just get rid of him, get him off the table if you aren't going to do it fast enough. And they made the right choice with starting the fight, but the execution of the fight for Final 5 was really bad.
Yep, Robert is doing a pretty solid amount of work, and I guess it's not too hard when you have a Mundo as a bodyguard, as has been the case with Kenny right now, but Final 5 able to defend their second-tier tower just barely. You saw Gate taking quite a lot of abuse for that one. But this just proves Complexity still has a bite.
Yeah, they do, and especially around that Baron pit. It's where they kept themselves in the last game, and this game it's more of the same right now.
Well, at this point, there may be a real Baron Tango pretty soon. Shorter Ace going to try and get a little bit more ward control out, as you saw that pink being cleared out. Meanwhile, Rule 18 on the bottom side doing just the same thing near Dragon. Speaking of Dragon, about a minute remaining. This might be the slightly less committal one, but wait a minute. Shorter Ace, he has to get out of there as quick as he can, and he's trapped in the cage with Cloudwind actually burning his flash to get away. The wave's already out as well. They do disengage, but that was an expensive escape.
Yeah, and they used the ultimate from Gate there. And it was a little too late, because Shorter Race was already in position to be collapsed on. And if they had killed him, it pretty much would have been a Dragon, considering the death timers at 26 minutes into the game. Probably would have lined up, and he wouldn't have been there in time. So now Rux coming in for a flank, though, on this side. Shorter Race, he's still on the healthier side, thanks to Rule 18. Yeah,
they're going to try to find something here, but Prototype actually gets seen out by Cloudwind. He's going to actually pop his culling, and Cloudwind gets a shield out. It's going to try to keep himself safe. Robert into stealth mode. This Dragon fight should be the next one, but they've got to be careful on the side of Complexity. There's a pretty big wave here, but yeah, Death Brush. Oh, we're spotted. Let's clear it away.
And their AD carry is on the front line. Prototype weaving in and out as much as he can right now.
Final 5 trying to keep the attention away from the Dragon about to spawn. Complexity looking for a fight. They know they can take it, or at least they feel confident in this one. There are some key ultimates available right now, and Complexity Black trying to zone out here. You see Prototype separated from his team. They're moving it towards Baron. And the Final 5 are looking a little bit shaky to try and take something.
They can just go push top right now. They have control of this side of the map. There aren't any wards there from Complexity Black, so they tried to set up for the Dragon. So now, they'll be like, all right, we're going to push top. You guys have to wrap around. Look at this Rux. He could get a flank right here.
Yep, he was hiding, and it looks like the hidden tree might be the deadliest. He's going on in. They're going to find the fight they're looking for. Everyone's trapped in the cage with Cloudwind, but it doesn't even matter. He's going to go down pretty quick. Prototype staying alive in the back. Rux is causing all kinds of chaos, and Shorter Ace picks up Robert X. Lee. No more Twitch damage, and Complexity scattering from this one, but he does find Rux on the back end of that.
Oh, just all the poison stacked up. Here they go.
They're coming on in. It's Bubba Dub they're looking for. They might find Kenny. Gate actually takes a little bit more damage than he bargained for, and he's going to be able to get the Zhonya's off. Kenny is pretty low, but he's sustaining through all of it, and the shutdown ends up going to Prawley. Shorter Ace, Rule 18. Prototype is solo pushing this top. They didn't have that follow-up damage, so they will take the tower, but these fights have been just absolutely haywire.
Exactly. Prototype, he didn't have the HP to contribute to that fight. Instead, he decides to push that top lane, but look at it. He's going to pay for it.
Oh, he might be in trouble. Relentless pursuit, rather relentless retreat. And he's going to be able to get away from that one, but that was close.
Extra movement speed from the Nami helped them out there.
Yep, Rule 18 definitely in position this time to help out his carry. Shorter Ace is going to grab himself a consolation red buff, but Complexity Black still showing the spirit that they want to get into the LCS here.
Yeah, and you have to do something about this Dragon very quickly if you're Complexity Black, because if you split push with Rux, he has his TP. You guys do Dragon, he pushes top, he'll get that inhibitor wave really close. So you have to take this option off the field ASAP.
Yeah, they really need to do something here, and getting a little bit of gold back in their pockets could give them the confidence they need to start pushing down towers. It is 7-2, and there they are going to take that Drake, so cut down the gold lead. It's still almost 10,000 in favor of Final 5, but now that some of the key items have been completed, it means a little bit less than it did before.
It's been staying around that.
Oh boy. They know this is spotted. They don't even care. They're going to clear it away. This is going to draw everyone.
Cloudwind
but you see, Prawley's back. Cloudwind doesn't have Smite available. Shorter Ace does. They are taking the risky move, and there is almost no way they could pick this one off. It'd be so close. It's going to go down. It's actually going to get fired by Prototype, and now they look to take this fight. Shorter Ace on the front, going to dive in. The Destiny Gate's on. Where's he going to go? He's in the middle, and he gets the Zhonya's off. There's the wave. They're trying to bait this out. They've got the catch. They've got the bubble. Down goes Cloudwind. Kenny on the run. The Shockwave. It's going to connect on almost everybody. At Gate staying alive. Finally, the poison will take him away. Kenny in the front gets his ultimate off, and they're thinking long and hard about if they want to keep taking this fight. Robert, they've not been able to touch him. The tree is running towards him. How fast can he march? Robert is going in the back line, staying alive. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far, but Complexity Black disengages again.
Once again, it's Prawley and Robert that are really making these fights go even. If they had even gold across the board here, Complexity Black would be taking all of these fights extremely convincingly because Robert is just hitting his stride. No Infinity Edge in his inventory. His crit chance is extremely low. So when he's pumping all this damage into people, it doesn't have that chance of being exponentially higher.
Absolutely, and it's all on the back of his incredible positioning, staying behind Kenny, staying in the backline, being able to fire people down. You see he's buffing that a little bit more. He gets the Alacrity enchantment on his boots. He's just moving on forward, bobbing and weaving, and you can see, if they take him out, they win those fights. But if they don't, there's no for sure, and Prawley with the monster shockwaves to turn these fights around.
Every shockwave he's thrown out has hit about 3 people. I think he's gotten a 4-man, a 3-man, and then this one was kind of all over the place because people flashed out of it afterwards, or as it was casting, he still took the damage.
Yeah, been a pretty big boon to them in those jungle fights. That final 5 really has to reevaluate taking. They've lost one member's Baron buff. Gate does not have that anymore. Off an incredibly aggressive start, they need to get those catches. Robert is the easiest target, but it's a pretty big telegraph to Complexity. As long as we can protect the Twitch, we can win the fight.
And look at all this ward coverage in that top side of the map for final 5. They have pink wards, they have green wards just sitting around, making sure that they have control of this area. The Baron buff is on them. They have the option to split push. Shorter Ace looking for a flank on the Lee Sin. This team just needs one good team fight to crack the base. They have that inhibitor available. He hit Prawley. He's not going to take it. Rux isn't there. Rux is splitting.
They do have to deal with Rux, however. They're going to try and answer for him. The pings are down. There's a naked inhibitor right here. Final 5 could get this pressure on, and there's really nothing else to take on the map, so this is the key for them right now to try and knock this door down.
And look at that. Straight through.
Ooh, shorter. Takes quite a little bit of abuse here, and you see Robert in invisible form going to try and find an angle he can unload on them, but he comes right out of that one. So without Gate in the picture, Final 5 not wanting to take this one, but he is coming up, creeping around the side. This might be the fight. If they go for it, they have to not focus Kenny, though, if they want to do it. It looks like just trying to play it out with the poke game.
Well, Gate also had the option of pushing mid with his wave clear, but instead he opts to just go top, help with this push, and they get some damage on it, but it's really just Rux walking up at this point.
It's all going to be on the back of if Rux wants to go in and take this engage. They've got the Baron buff, but they're not utilizing it right now, just trying to out-sustain Complexity and see if they can take the fight. Kenny can heal everything back up, so poking him is really not going to be incredibly helpful. It's Robert that they really want to find, but he's just positioning so well. This inhibitor is taking a little bit of damage. It's going, just ticking it away, but they just don't have quite enough, and it's starting to heal it back up anyways.
When this fight starts, you have to watch who they focus on Final 5's side, and you have to watch the ball positioning and where Robert comes out with his line.
Well, it might actually be Complexity looking to start this one. They do manage to get a Howling Gale on 2 members there, but they don't want to fight it. Here we go. They're going to get the jump on. Shorter Ace, not sure if he wants to take it. There's a whole lot of left and right because everybody spent their ultimates right on there. They will take that one down. Robert will find Shorter Ace, so they get an inhibitor for 1. They get the bubble. Can they get out? They're going to try, and there's no more cage for Cloudwind to get people into. They're still going to try and poke him down anyways. Destiny Gate's on. Here's the follow-up. Cloudwind might have gone a little too deep on this one. Shockwave going to land, but it's Prototype and Rule 18 caught up in it. Destiny Gate's out. Gate is going to find the Zhonya's as well, and they try to pick off Robert, but Kenny is in the front. Prawley's in the front. Can they take him down? Yes, they can. It's Gate answering back onto that mid laner, and they'll keep moving forward. Jungler for mid down. This is tense.
They don't really have anything else to take in this top lane, though. They have to go to other lanes and start pushing things out. Dragon, not up for another minute. They win that fight, but they don't get too much off it except for just some extra gold from killing those members. So they have to just keep in mind what summoner spells were blown. Prawley, no flash. Robert, no flash. Next fight, which will happen before the next 5 minutes, because you have super minions pushing top. If you force something bottom, you're in a good spot. Final 5 have a lot of options here, considering look at all their summoner spells they have up.
Not just the summoner spells as well, but of course, They spent quite a lot of key ultimates over there on the side of Complexity. Those should be back up pretty soon, but you could just see the insane displacement, the Shockwave, the Cataclysm, the Monsoon. They used it all in the span of about 3 seconds.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, when you're keeping these types of timers, when you think about ultimate timers, they really matter around that level 6, level 11 point, but flash timers matter throughout the game. They become even more important in the late game, considering death timers.
This is some Mundo bait right here. They're going to try to find Kenny, but here comes Bubba and Cloudwind. The bubble's coming out as they see him now. He's going to flag and drag on in, looking for short race, looking for Prototype to kick back. They're spending a teleport for this one. Gate's already here. Robert's pretty low. They get the gold card. They're going to jump in. He does shut him down. That's a big pickup. The Shockwave's still going to land, but this might be the chance that Final 5 is looking for. They melt Prowly. Prototype with a killing spree.
Super
and they're
minions.
marching on forward. There are super minions on the top. Complexity Black, they have to get back to this one. Can they get away? Cloudwind, he's got one more hit before he'll go down, and he's going to be able to escape. Kenny is tanking the front line, but this is going to be Final 5 looking to push this one in. They're going straight for the Nexus. They've got the super minions. I think they can end the game here, Zyrene.
They already have enough damage and super minions to tank these up. This is the last fight.
This is going to happen. Cloudwind trying to make something happen here. He's not going to be big enough. Bubba Dub, the Monsoon will not heal enough damage, and they're juggling aggro left and right. Kenny, he can't do enough. He might go where he pleases, but he can't win the game. This is going to be the Nexus falling. This is going to be 2-0, and Final 5 will move on as the winners from Group A.
And join whoever wins today and tomorrow in the Final 4. This team actually came into it being a little lower seeded than Zenith, I believe.
Yeah, they were
winning there.
They were the seed 8, just below Zenith 7th, and this is a team that has woken up. They have realized we have the synergy. We can go forward, we can make plays, and they just knocked out Complexity Black.
This is a team that their biggest weakness was the fact that they struggled with nerves in online events. They're going to be really tested in the weeks to come when they have to do in-person events. They do have a...